Are you listening? Are you listening, you sick son of a bitch? I know you planted a GPS in me. I know you can hear me. The following podcast contains spoilers for I Saw the Devil. You have been warned, you sick son of a bitch.
Yeah, I hear you, goddammit. And right now, you're gonna hear me. Welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your host, Glenjamin Button, along with your host, Miguel Magusto.
It's a me.
It's
Let's go.
Miguel Magusto.
I've decided that while not exact, I can do an okay impression of Mario going, "Let's go." And
It's pretty damn good. If you ask me.
That's the only good impression I can do. As we all know, I am notoriously horrible at impressions, except for only saying "Let's go" as Mario.
Just the one singular thing.
The one singular thing, yes. But you just came back from a little Disney cruise. I
did.
assume you got drunk and belligerent and fought Mickey every day.
I did drink a little, but I didn't get plastered. But Mickey knows who the man is now, so it's all good regardless.
Well, in between fisticuffs, did you happen to watch any movies? I know, just to interject real quick, the one time I went on a cruise, guess what movie they were playing on the cruise? Not Titanic, I'll give you that. No, it wasn't a Disney cruise. But
Poseidon, then.
Yes, it was Poseidon. They played Poseidon, a
Out of
movie
all
about a
movies in the
cruise
world.
ship, yes. And they played that on repeat. It was hilarious.
Was it actually?
Yes, I'm not even joking. It was.
Oh no!
That's like if you ever been on an airplane and you watch like a bunch
You
of
watch the
movies.
snakes on a plane, yeah.
Well, no, if you watch any movies on an airplane and that movie has a scene that like something bad happens to a plane, they will cut that out.
Really?
So yeah, like I watched Godzilla on an airplane once, the 2014 Godzilla, and they cut out the scene where Godzilla steps on landed planes. So they're not even in the air, but he steps on landed planes and causes an explosion. They cut that out.
I can only imagine how the Civil War movie would go.
But they showed an entire ass cruise ship sinking movie. Yeah, entire ass too. But yeah, the entire Poseidon movie, not censored or anything, just watching a ship sink while riding a ship sinking. It didn't sink, but anyway. Anyway, sorry. I just wanted to tell that story. What have you watched this week, Glenn? Or past 2 weeks, rather.
Before I left, we had watched the movie Men, which we do have a review out for, which is pretty damn good. On the cruise, of course, they had 3 theaters, one of them being like a stage play theater, and then one being like a poolside theater. There was like two pools and like a lazy river. And then there was a huge fucking screen that they would just constantly play Disney animated films for the kids. And then they had one theater, which I didn't get to go visit, sadly, in the boat itself. Every time they were showing a video or a movie that I wanted to go see, it was our dinner time, and like a dinner there takes like 2 hours because it's like a 5-star meal and they have to prep it.
and what people don't know about cruises is that you have a scheduled selected dinner time and you cannot deviate from that, or else you're not eating that day.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, not eating dinner. You could go to like the buffet and everything.
Yeah, there's a buffet, but
that food's not as good as the food they serve at dinner.
But I was going to watch Encanto, and I was going to watch Turning Red, because those are the 2 that I haven't seen yet out of all the newer stuff, and I didn't get a chance to. So sad boy hours. But every time me and my cousin went back to our room, we watched just a random movie. So we watched like Emperor's New Groove. We watched just Disney-themed movies. We did watch Guardians 1 and 2, just because they're hilarious movies and just they deserve to be rewatched, because Thor's coming out too, so we're gonna see them again soon. And then we were like, well, let's just rewatch Infinity War and Endgame again, just because why not?
Yeah.
But after that, I came home and I finished Hawkeye finally. I finished Ozark finally. I started and finished Moon Knight finally, and I'm starting Stranger Things. I started the first episode last night. I have to finish the rest of it. And then, of course, I saw The Devil.
I saw the devil. Yeah.
But other than that, that is pretty much it. How about you, my good man?
I was going to say something. Oh, Stranger Things. Sorry, my computer made a noise, so it made me forget for a second. Like, I was a pretty big fan of Stranger Things, and then they ended season 3 before the cutscene during the credits perfectly. So I have like no interest in Stranger Things 4, but I'll probably watch it at some point. I'm just not as excited about it as I was 1, 2, and 3.
I'm just gonna watch it because I know it's most likely gonna get spoiled to shit. So
oh yeah, I mean,
just getting it out of the way as fast as possible.
I'll watch it at some point too. But that's a show that Caitlin and I watch together, so I gotta wait for her. But I watched 13 movies, yep, because I was slacking in the first half of the month with the 1001 movies. So I watched a lot of those. The first one I watched was In the Heat of the Night, a Sidney Poitier film about a cop from Philadelphia. A black cop from Philadelphia being kind of apprehended in Mississippi, and it's kind of like a whole racial thing, but he still tries to help the cops solve a murder down there and everything. It's very intriguing, wonderfully acted by Sidney Poitier, of course, and Rod Steiger. It's a great film. Cannot recommend it enough. But you can see how I really feel about it on June 28th. There, 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. The Cinema Bucket List series I do. So that's In the Heat of the Night. Then I watched for the 1001 Movies Journey to Italy. You can find out more on June 28th. Then we watched Men together. We do have a review on that. We do love watching Men. We love watching Men. Find our review on YouTube. Then I watched An Actor's Revenge, which is a Japanese film from 1963, which is exactly as the title suggests, An Actor's Revenge. It's about an actor who seeks revenge. And after watching this movie, I have decided that I absolutely fucking love Japanese movies from 1950 to 1969. They're all... I have not seen a bad one within that range, including the Godzilla movies that I've seen. Like even the campy ones are still pretty good. But An Actor's Revenge, really enjoyed that. That's also. I was going to
pick one this week, but then I strayed away because we just did a foreign film, or we're about to do a foreign film.
Yeah,
so let me back off for a second.
Yeah, so that's going to be on my Cinema Bucket List series on June 28th as well. Then I watched The Ballad of Lefty Brown, which has what's his name? Bill Pullman. I can't believe I forgot his name. It's a Western film with starring Bill Pullman where he plays kind of he's not mentally challenged, but he's slow and uneducated. Kind of like he was like a follower of this sheriff guy who gets murdered, and then it's kind of him going out for revenge. I love revenge movies. It's just one of my the subgenres that I absolutely love. And this one was probably the best Western I have seen. Probably since the assassination of Jesse James in 2007.
That's high regards right there.
Yeah, it was a very well done movie. And I'm not saying that I've seen like all Westerns within that time frame, but this is like one of the better ones in the past 10, 15 years. So highly suggest people check that out. Then for the 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die Cinema Bucket List series, I watched Y Tu Mama Tambien, which is a Mexican film. Directed by Alfonso Cuarón, who did Gravity and Roma, I believe. Yeah, pretty sure Roma. But this is like one of his first films. It's got a very incredibly young Diego Luna and a very incredibly young Gael Garcia Bernal. And it's essentially like a coming of age film with, they kind of go on this trip with an older woman. And sexy times happen. Yeah, but it's really cool because the entire time they're not reminded of death, but the audience is. Like the camera focuses on like a lot of graveyards and everything. It's really cool. It's hard to explain, but it's a very well made movie. That's also going to be on the June episode for Cinema Bucket List. Then I rewatched, you guessed it, Everything Everywhere All at Once. That is my 6th time watching it. I will not stop watching it until I no longer ugly cry while watching it. 6 times, 6 ugly cries. I don't know what is happening to me. Help.
Just let it happen.
Send help. Please.
Please.
But if you haven't seen that movie, you're missing out. You're doing yourself a disservice by not seeing it. Then for the 1001 movies that you must see before you die, I saw The Ten Commandments, a very bloated Bible movie from the 50s, which I understand why it is on the list for 1001 movies you must see before you die. But I am a child, the son of a pastor, and I've heard the story of Moses several times, and I tell you that story does not need 3 hours and 40 minutes to be told. For fuck's sake, man. Come on. Anyway, that's the Ten Commandments. That's also going to be on the June episode for 1001 movies you must see before you die. Then I watched Performance, which is a Nicholas Roeg movie, and another director, I forget his name, with Mick Jagger is in it. It's a weird movie. I enjoyed it though, but it is weird. So yeah, there's that. Then I watched L.A. Confidential for the 1001 movies you must see before you die. A really cool noir style film from 1997.
I still have to watch that one.
It's pretty good. But you can find out more on Cinema Bucket List.
It's Kevin Costner, right?
No, it's Kevin. Unfortunately, Kevin Spacey. Great actor, but not a great human being from what we have been told. Guy Pearce is also in it. James Cromwell and Russell Crowe, as well as
which one am I thinking
Kim
of with Kevin Costner?
The Untouchables?
Maybe.
Which takes place in Chicago, so I'm not sure. But it's got a similar style in the poster. But
That's
yeah,
probably it.
L.A. Confidential. Check that out. Check out what I think about it on June 28th when that episode comes out. Then on Thursday, our movie day, Glenn, I went by myself. I cried.
I'm so sorry.
I went by myself and I saw the Bob's Burgers movie because I feel like that would be the one you would be least interested in seeing.
I mean, it pretty much, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Bob's Burgers, but I do like Bob's Burgers. This movie is an adequate movie for Bob's Burgers, and if you're a Bob's Burgers fan, you should check it out. Then I Saw the Devil, which we'll get into in a minute. I rewatched it, rather. I re-saw the Devil, and we'll get into that in just a minute. And then today, I rewatched a movie called Get Low, which I watched in 2009 with my friend Jason Brown, who you've met when we filmed Banshee. I watched it with him, and I forgot most of it, so I wanted to rewatch it. Solid film, slow burn, very slow-moving movie, but not terrible. It's got pretty good performances in it. Yeah, check it out if you're into that kind of thing. It's not like a movie you have to see, though, so there's that. But, Glenn, we have sad news to discuss.
We do have the sad news.
Yes. While you were away, you were not watching. This is all your fault, by the way.
I had almost literally no internet.
Zero internet, so you couldn't keep watchful eye over him. Unfortunately, Ray Liotta had passed away on May 26th while filming a movie. He died in his sleep, but he was in the process of making a movie in the Dominican Republic. I don't believe they've released a cause of death yet.
The last time I saw it there was no foul play, at least. Yeah. I mean, he not that 67 is old, but he is 67. Yeah.
Anything from like sleep apnea to like a sleeping heart attack or whatever. It could have been. It could have been anything. That's the thing that bugs me about when actors die, especially in their sleep. Everyone's just like, "Oh, something bad happened."
It's gotta be something.
There are so many different ways you can die in your sleep. Like it is.
One of the pit bosses finally got to him.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, unfortunately, he passed away. He's a great actor. Everyone knows him from Goodfellas, but he was in so much more than that. And he is a talent that will certainly be missed.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. So without any further ado, let's get into I Saw the Devil. secret agent exacts revenge on a serial killer through a series of captures and releases. It is directed by Ji Woon Kim, written by Park Hoon Jung and Ji Woon Kim, or it should be Kim Ji Woon since they do surnames first in Korea, but IMDb doesn't do that. And then it's starring Lee Byung Hun, Choi Min Sik, Jeong Guk Hwan, and Ho Jin Chung, and several other people. It is a movie about serial killers and a cop chasing serial killers. And you said it perfectly when you text me about why no one talks about the taxi scene.
Yeah.
I saw The Devil before, so I re-saw The Devil this time around. He was
such a weird sentence to say.
Yeah, I know.
Especially,
I saw The Devil before. I was being silly, but you said it perfectly when you said, "Why does no one talk about the taxi scene?" And I believe that this is a criminally underrated movie. It kind of came out before people were really into Korean culture, except for me. I mean, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I have been into Korean. I've been into Korean films for quite some time. Pretty much since The Host came out, which I believe that was 2009. Oh, 2006. Wow, even longer than I thought. So I've been into Korean films since 2006 when I watched The Host, and then I went on a binge of Korean films after that. But this is
we just keep blossoming from there.
Yeah, this is a great, intense movie. That my favorite thing about it is that it's not a mystery, so you're not like guessing what's going on the whole time. They tell you right off the bat who the killer is.
Yeah, you're in for the ride as soon as you start watching. It's pretty crazy,
for sure. But what did you think about it?
I mean, like I said, like it's just, or like you technically said, it's definitely criminally underrated. Just that taxi scene alone. Before I texted you there, I was definitely enjoying it, and then that taxi scene happened. I'm like, what in the fuck? Why is no one talking about that?
You're talking about just to make sure, because I believe there's technically a couple taxi scenes. Just to be sure, the one you're talking about is the one where he gets into a taxi after being attacked by the cop. And the cop lets him go, and then he kind of figures out that the two guys in the taxi are going to try to kill him, so he tries to kill them first. Yes, I 100% agree that is a crazy scene.
Because that scene is just ultimately badass. Nice around-the-world shot of absolute stabbery and just gruesomeness. Blood flying everywhere, and just this man's got a broken hand and a dream to not die and keep murdering. It's kind of crazy how many murderers there are in this. They all just happen to fit into this small world together. They're like, hey, I just killed some people. Can I take a taxi ride? Yeah, get in. We're also murderers and we want to kill you. All right, well, I don't know about that. I'm going to kill you. And then travel further down the road. Oh, there's another murderer. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I love that this insinuates that there's this major underground world of serial killers
dudes that are just murderous.
Yeah, like there's a cannibal.
Just dudes, but
there's a cannibal that just like eats nonchalantly human meat in front of people. It's just it's a crazy movie with that taxi scene reminds me a lot of The Raid, and I believe The Raid came out after. Yeah, Raid came out in 2011, and then The Raid 2 came out in 2014. So like that, but that taxi scene, the way it circles around the fight as it's happening in the taxi just screamed The Raid to me. But this is such a gruesome movie, unapologetically gruesome too.
Absolutely.
Like it never turns away. It never turns away from the horrors that he's done. The most it will do is focus on Choi Min Suk, who is the main killer, or Min Sik, and it focuses on his face while he's killing, but I wouldn't really consider that like looking away. It's just showing you how
the brutality and unapologeticness of his face.
How
doing
apathetic he is. Yeah, exactly.
Lee Byung Hun, and how just stern and stoic he was, just hunting this man down the whole time. And also unapologetic for what he's doing. He's out for revenge, and he's gonna fucking get it. His outfit that he chose for always hunting him down is just so iconic. He either had the puffer jacket or the leather jacket, but he always had the gloves, and he always had something he was going to dismantle this guy's fucking life with.
Yeah, exactly.
But he never wore a mask. He wanted to know exactly who was hunting him, and just made sure as soon as he saw his face that he's in for a world of hurt. And
Yeah,
it was pretty awesome to see him just go into Terminator mode as soon as this guy did anything sinful in any way.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yes. This is directed, of course, by Kim Ji-woong, who many people will probably know or not know, I guess, depending on how familiar you are with Korean films. But I have not seen a bad film from him, personally speaking. The first film, this is the first of his films that I saw. But like,
and
he's done
currently the first of his that I've seen.
Yeah, he's done The Good, the Bad, and the Weird, Tale of Two Sisters, The Foul King, which is an incredible wrestling film that I hope gets a Criterion Collection version at some point, because it's very difficult to find at this moment, and The Quiet Family, which also is very difficult to find at this moment. He also did an American movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, The Last Stand, which I haven't seen, but I hear is pretty good for being like a dumb action movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, is that the one with Johnny Knoxville?
Yeah,
or something?
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
but
he did that movie.
Huh?
He did that movie?
Yeah. That was around the time a lot of Korean directors were trying to branch off into American cinema. Like that's around the same time that Bong Joon-ho did Snowpiercer, and Chan-wook Park did Stoker. So like a lot of Korean directors were trying to break into American cinema. Interesting. Yeah, it's a weird time. It was a weird time from back then. But this movie, I love you. I know for a fact that you like this, and you love the whole concept of revenge begets revenge. And it's
one of my favorite themes of all time.
Yeah, this is like that to a T, where once the guy understands, what's the killer's name? Kyung-chul, Jang Kong-chul. Once he knows that Lee Byung-hung is after him, he starts like trying to fuck up his life and everything, and it's such a crazy back and forth, and it's so much more interesting than if Lee Byung-hung was just gonna like hunt him down and kill him. Yeah. Apparently, this is based off of something, adaptation. I'm not sure what that means. Let's see. I'm gonna look for that.
Maybe he made something and then just made it into this afterwards,
or maybe that like they changed the script enough where he needed to be credited as adaptation. But it's a I really am at a loss for words. Like, the cinematography is beautiful in this. The action sequences are so brutal, and it's just such an interesting movie.
If the biggest flaw that I would have with this, other than it being perfect, and that's just disgusting, is the fact that you could tell the props were fake. You could definitely tell, like the rock that he picks up in the first attempt to just fuck the dude up, he picked it up so fast that he looked like he was Superman. Yeah, and it's a big rock technically. And then the stool he was using to beat the shit out of Zhang was just flimsy, like rubber. Mm-hmm. I noticed that a lot. It kind of took me out of it just a little bit, but not enough to be like, oh, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, but I would agree. I think that this, I would rather see the attack and kind of have to ignore the fact that the weapons are super fake. Yeah, than for them to cut away, as they do in most things.
Yeah, because of the props they're using. Yeah. Like I said, that was the biggest flaw that I had, and it wasn't even that distracting. I'm like, oh, you can tell that's fake, and then I just go back to him like, he's beating the shit out of him. And then like they make up for it by like just blood squirts and stuff, just like absolute savagery. Of just the brutal beatdown of it all. So they made up for what you could tell was obviously fake, but. I mean, it was a really cool movie to see. Just sick, sadistic. They lingered on scenes too long to make you feel uncomfortable in a good way. Yeah. like the Zhang character, makes this one nurse like strip, and he's gonna do the R word upon her, and they stick with it the whole time, and it's not the whole time before he comes and starts beating his ass, but it's just really uncomfortable because it feels like they are going to make it happen, and then it's like, oh, thank God he's there. Jesus Christ.
They show enough, because that's a thing that I feel like a lot of American movies do wrong, is that like they'll have this character who is ruthless, but they won't show him doing anything super bad. Like they'll hint at it, and then he kind of becomes a hero within the movie. And I'm not even talking about like anti-hero stuff, but like with Joker in Batman movies. Joker's a bad dude in Batman movies, and like people like fucking worship him. Yes, he's an interesting character and everything, but they will not let you do this with this movie. They show you just how much of a piece of shit Zhang is, and will not shy away from that. And I love that they did that, because otherwise you could just his confidence could be so, for lack of a better word, attractive, and you're just like, man, he's such a cool dude. But they show you that he is a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah, and especially with the fact that he knows that he's being hunted down, and he's just like, fuck it. He's turned on to the fact that he's like, this is great. Let's just fuck up some more shit, and let's keep doing this. And
then at the end, like, he fakes being sad just to see if he can get out. And then once he realizes that he's not, he doesn't give Kim, Lee Byung-hung's character, like the satisfaction of seeing him cry, even though he kind of does once he realizes his son and parents are outside. But he doesn't give Lee Byung-hung the satisfaction to see that, which leads us to the Saw-like ending of Zhang's character, where after torturing him, Lee Byung-hung like hooks up the guillotine to the door and Zhang's mouth, essentially, where he has to hold the rope, and if he lets go of the rope, then he's gonna die. And that is such like a fucked up way to leave someone.
100%.
And when you think, like, any other movie would just celebrate the fact that the main bad guy gets his head cut off, and then it ends with just Lee Byung-hung just breaking down crying, realizing that it was all for nothing. Like, he got nothing out of it. Nothing happened. Yes, the guy's dead, but it didn't bring anyone back. No one that was killed was brought back. And it's, your favorite theme ever.
It is. It's just, it just don't work that way sometimes. It is, definitely, you definitely want revenge, but it's just, at the end, it's most likely not going to be what you want from it all.
Yeah.
He was 100% a piece of shit, and definitely probably should have died, but, creating this scenario where you're just torturing him, but he's into it is, well, it's just a silly time that just called for silly measures, shall we say.
Silly times call for silly measures, as they say.
As they say. I don't know how much more specifically I have. Everybody was fantastic. All the scenes were fantastic themselves. Even the leading up to, like, everything. It's just like it held the scenes that it needed to perfectly, and it turned events perfectly to where it didn't get itself boring in any way. And just keep going through a cycle of, he's all right, he's just going to be hunting again. He's just going to be hunting again. But no, it was great film.
Yeah, I agree.
I definitely don't want to put this on the shelf.
Oh, well, speaking of the shelf, that brings us to the judgment for I Saw the Devil. As always, it needs to be a unanimous decision whether or not it becomes a shelf boy with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden, another South Korean film. Since I picked this, I get to go first. I saw the devil twice.
He did.
And each time he was like, put me on the shelf, motherfucker. And so, I'm going to put him on the shelf.
It deserves it. It's a solid movie, and, like Mike said, critically underrated. Should be seen with eyes.
Not critically, criminally.
Criminally, critically. criminally fits better for the status quo of the movie itself.
Yeah.
But critically, what the fuck are people doing not watching this? At least the taxi scene, too. Holy shit.
Watch the whole thing.
Watch the shit, people.
I mean, the taxi scene's great, but don't turn it off after the taxi scene. It's still good after that. It's fine. It's a good movie.
Keep at it.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
I Saw the Devil becomes a little shelf boy and goes on the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. That brings us to our assignment for next week. Glenn, while you were on your cruise, did you have time to pick another movie?
Oh, 100%. Like,
you
think
good,
I'm prepared or like not prepared in my life at all?
I mean, I could tell them that you just picked it right before we recorded.
No, shut up. Come on.
But no, you totally picked this a while ago.
Totally picked it a long and dubious search for this movie. I was contemplating life and limbs for it. But this was actually recommended a while ago, and you and I had talked about this. I doubt you remember what it was now, but I'm gonna share it with you a little bit. 1987, a PG film, hour long, 47 minutes. The large-nosed C.D. Bales is in love with the beautiful Roxanne. She falls for his personality, but another man's looks. Directed by Fred Shepsey, written by Edmund Rostand and Steve Martin. It stars Steve Martin, Daryl Hannah, Ricky Rizovic, Shelley Duvall, John Capellos. It is Roxanne.
Can I look at those nose cards one more time? Oh, yeah.
C.D. Bales had a small problem.
They said it was big, but I didn't expect it to be big.
He could handle every situation. Except the one that mattered most.
I'm locked out of my house.
Come on inside, I'll get the tools.
I don't have any clothes on.
Maybe you'd like some wine with your nose. Cheese.
I want to look like Diana Ross.
I think she's fallen in love, but she doesn't know it yet.
There's someone I think I should get to know better.
His name's Chris McConnell.
This time I want you to do it, Dave. I want you to cut the thing off.
Maybe you could encourage him a little.
Look, she wants somebody who looks like me and talks like you.
Don't panic. Stay calm. Stay calm.
Because there is a heart here
That's good. That's okay.
that wants yours to know that there's a possible 502 on Main.
So why'd you say those things?
Tell her you were afraid of words.
Because I was afraid of worms, Roxanne. Worms!
Worm.
Love may be blind,
Get out.
Get in!
No, get out.
Get in!
but hopefully Roxanne isn't. Steve Martin,
Hey!
Daryl Hannah,
Why don't you just get that nose job?
I did.
Roxanne.
I was gonna. You kept going. I was like, did you ever say the title?
I was getting there.
Yeah.
So I don't fucking remember what my cousin what the original movie he said we should watch, but he was talking about this movie, but he said a completely different movie name, and we're sitting there like, I think it had to do with Adam Sandler or something like that.
Oh, yeah?
He's like, yeah, he's got that big nose. I'm like, Adam Sandler with a big nose, or like something. It was just super random. Like, what in the hell is he talking about?
Yeah.
And eventually we found out what it actually was, and it was this film.
Roxanne.
You have apparently never seen this movie. I have seen parts of this movie, but never the full thing.
Same here. I've seen parts of it, never the full thing. This is based on Cyrano de Bergerac by Edmond Rostand, book from the late 1800s, early 1900s, something like that. The movie Cyrano that came out with Peter Dinklage this year, that is based on the same thing. That is a musical, though. This is not. So yeah,
Yeah.
The movie's about a guy with a big nose who doesn't think he deserves love. Which means Peter Dinklage is now in two things based on things where his character is supposed to have a fucked up nose, and yet he does not.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones being the other one. So, a little fun fact, I think that's a little fun fact.
It's a pretty fun fact.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm excited to watch this.
Let me see where it is. For some reason, I clicked off
HBO
of it.
Max.
It is on HBO Max and Hulu.
Ooh, and Hulu.
If you've got those subscriptions, they're a part of your package.
Yeah, probably, though, has ads on Hulu. So if you have HBO Max, go on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So Roxanne is our assignment for next week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, you can check out our website at www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, we're Keystone_film_review. Twitter, Keystone_film. Facebook, Keystone Film Review. YouTube, Keystone Film Review. TikTok, Keystone Film Review. And on Letterboxd, I'm Mike KFR.
And I am Glenn KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we find out if we deserve love.
I think we do.
Despite our giant gonzulas,
Our troglodyte noses.
our little big face nostril things.
Please love us.
Please, Daryl Hannah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.